Hi there, this is Sean, the Honest Book Reviewer, with another book review. In this video, we're discussing Sue Grafton's B is for Burglar, the second novel in the Alphabet Mystery series. I'll mention again, just like I did in the first video of this series by Sue Grafton is the best PI series that I've read. I love the Kinsey Millhone character. I think having a female PI set in the 80s was just a brilliant choice and so inventive, and I think Sue Grafton knew she was onto a winner when she started this series. For me, this series is wonderful, and I will be doing a video on each novel in the series. Now we start this story with Beverly Denzinger. She's requesting Kinsey's services to find her sister Elaine, who she thinks missing. But hang on, is she really missing? We're not sure, and either is Beverly, because Elaine's a bit of a jet setter. She's got enough money, she can do what she wants. She spends half her time in Florida, half her time in California. She often goes elsewhere for holidays as well. So Beverly's actually not sure if she's missing or not, but she needs to find her to sign some legal documents to get money from her will. There's not much money at all really for these two women who seem to be independently wealthy, but Beverly seems really keen that it has to be done. So that's why Kinsey finds herself on the case. Plus, Kinsey needs the money. She's getting a bit broke. She needs to pay her rent. She needs to eat. So she's got no choice really. Even though she thinks this case is a bit beneath her, she needs the money. So early on, Kinsey thinks, okay, it's going to be an easy case. I'll go to Florida, ask a few questions. Elaine will turn up. Somebody will know where she is. It's not really as easy as she thought. And she soon finds that something fishy may be going on, especially when she finds a woman in Elaine's apartment, Pat Usher, who seems to be subletting even though the rules of that apartment complex don't allow for subletters. And this Pat Usher seems a bit of a troublemaker, and she's also carrying a few injuries to her face. Kinsey is suspicious of her at the start very early on, and she's wondering what's happened to Elaine, and she thinks that there may be foul play, but she can't prove it. When she mentions this to Beverly, suddenly Beverly pulls her off the case, doesn't want to pay her anymore for her services, and that rings more alarm bells for Kinsey. She wants to investigate herself, but she needs to wait, she needs that money, so who's going to pay her? There's another character called Tilly, who's the apartment manager in the complex in Florida. She also wants to know what happened to Elaine because Elaine's a friend of hers, so she decides to pay Kinsey for her services, so the case goes on. Now this novel is interesting because we have Elaine who's missing, but Kinsey's also investigating a house fire in California where a woman did die. The two cases may be linked. Kinsey's not sure, but as she digs deeper into both, she thinks there may be a connection, and she's wondering what that is because the house fire was next door to Elaine's residence in California, and Elaine left almost immediately after the house fire, so there's a lot of timing going on, a lot of coincidence, and Kinsey doesn't like coincidence. As she digs deeper, she's starting to find out more, and could she be in danger? We don't know. I'm not going to give any more away of this plot because I want you to read it and I want you to get excited if you haven't read it already. But the ending of this novel is just really brilliant. It ties all those strings together and it doesn't feel forced. A lot of novels, especially in mysteries, often have a forced ending where the author struggles to bring everything together and just sometimes rams that ending home without making too much sense. In this novel, Sue Grafton's done a great job of having the ending tie up neatly and just feel natural, feel real. I don't want to focus too much on the main characters because we have the usual main characters that appear in most novels. Kinsey herself, Henry Pitts, Rosie, Condolan, all those type of characters that are regular. They do develop more in this novel, but let's leave that for future novels in the series. There is another character that pops up for the first time in this novel, and he becomes a sort of a love interest question mark for Kinsey. This character's name is Jonah Robb. He's interesting because there is an interest there between them, but he's also got a bit of a messy situation at home. He's got a marriage with children. His wife's left him. We don't know if that's temporary or permanent. but she's left him with, a year's worth of frozen meals that she's cooked for him. So it's a very strange situation going on. Apparently she's done it before as well. So Kinsey's very cautious. She's been married twice, divorced twice. She doesn't want to get involved with somebody who's got this type of baggage. So at the moment, they're kind of just friends in this novel, but there's a question mark of something developing in the future. The other character that I'll mention from this novel, I guess is more of a side character in this story, is Tilly. Now she's a hoot really. She's quite fun. And I really hope that at that age, I'm as energetic as Tilly is. Even when Tilly has some things happen to her that are a bit shocking in this novel, especially for someone of that age, she comes through it like a trooper at the end. And I really enjoyed that interaction, that friendship that was developing between Kinsey and Tilly. I thought that was a really good addition to this novel, and I thought Tilly was a really standout character in this story. I can't remember if Tilly appears in future novels in this series. I wouldn't think so unless the case takes Kinsey to the same area, but I thought good on Sue Grafton for creating a character just like Tilly in this story. This novel was better than the first in the series, A is for Alibi. For this novel, I do give it 5 out of 5 because the mystery was spot on. There were so many different links between different threads in this story, cases that didn't seem similar, tied up, and they tied up so well at the end as well. The top marks for the mystery, the plot, the tie-up at the end, everything very neat and not having a forced ending. Also, you just have to give top marks just for the series alone because that 80s feel, that female PI, everything just went so well in this novel. It just all seemed to blend so perfectly. So 5 out of 5. This is a great addition to this series and one of the best series I've read. If you haven't read this series yet, seriously, start from A is for Alibi and read all the way through to Y.